Hello, fellow educators. Welcome to the 10th episode of Teacher's Tint, a place to regain your strength after a long day, week, or maybe semester this 2023. I'm your host, Steve G. I want to start this episode by thanking you guys, my audience, my fellow educators who have faithfully followed throughout these 10 presentations. Teacher's Tent has hit over 1,000 plays and has already been listened to in 20 countries in 5 continents. That's no small feat. Your support has made Teachers Tent a place for truly all teachers. I also want to thank my wife, who patiently and lovingly edits my writing so that mistakes are hopefully left out. She wishes to remain anonymous, so I will respect her wishes. I will tell her, though, that I love her deeply, and I want to publicly acknowledge that Teacher's Tent would be nothing but a dream were it not for her unfailing support. Thanks also, dear teachers, for your feedback on last week's episode. Many new teachers shared feeling appreciated and cared for after listening to last week's presentation. Well, that's encouraging. At Teachers Tent, we all help each other out, don't we? Today, we'll focus on a sensitive subject: loneliness in the workplace. Many educators express that they feel alone in their schools, even though they are surrounded by lots of people. We know that COVID left us a legacy of mental health issues, but apparently, according to the Harvard Gazette, young adults were hardest hit by loneliness. The report also points out that many young people who reported serious loneliness also said they felt as if no one genuinely cared about them. In this episode, as usual, I'll share my 5 things which I believe can help an educator connect emotionally with other adults in the school building. So, let's hope you enjoy today's presentation. Please keep sharing your feedback after listening, either through comments on Instagram or emails in things you think can help any teacher feel less lonely in his or her workplace. So, let's discuss feeling lonely at school. The first check that we need to do is what I would call: is it true or is it you? By this, I mean a sincere look into our own mental health thermometer. There are times when we feel like people are leaving us out. But in fact, it may be that we are experiencing a bout of depression, for example, which makes us in turn feel lonely and not cared for. Therefore, the importance of this first step in deciding: is it true or is it just you? By honestly answering this question and getting professional help if needed, we can hopefully walk the path to recovery and emotional connectivity with those not just at school, but all around us. A second component is one often felt by new teachers: I'm new and I don't fit in. Everyone already seems to know everyone. I know that can be daunting, especially if you're not an extrovert who socializes easily. For newcomers, there's obviously a time during which feeling out is quite natural. After all, it could be the case that some teachers may have been at that school forever and whose children may have even grown up together. However, that does not mean that you won't become a part of their circle of friends at some point in the future. Allow me to encourage you by saying it will happen, but it will take time. Developing relationships is beautiful, but it's like the growth of a plant. It doesn't happen overnight. Unfortunately, we live in a click of the mouse society where everything that takes time is frowned upon. One symptom of maturity is finally understanding that we can't control certain processes and their times, and relationships clearly fit into this group. The third element has to do with a more diverse workforce found at school nowadays. Not everyone there will be our same age, gender, race, ethnicity, or will have our same values and tastes. If I feel alone because I can't find someone like me, it might be good to ponder that each of us is unique, and there truly is no one else like me. There is nothing wrong with wanting to be around people like us. The thing is, when I go out there and talk to people that look different, sound different, and even think different, I'm better prepared to understand and relate with others more easily. No one says you should become them. And you just keep being you, but your life will be richer by learning and hearing other perspectives. You will also be pleasantly surprised by what these young, old, male, female, blue, green, tall, short teachers can bring to your life as well as to the table of your whole team. Leaving the they versus I mentality is a fourth thing that helps feeling less lonely. If you perceive the staff at your school as a big they, start talking to and doing things for one person at a time, preferably someone in your team. These one on one interactions will let you break this perception in your mind. This, in turn, will allow you to gradually start developing lasting relationships with coworkers. A final fifth element is that we come to understand, too, that in a school, there are certain jobs that are by nature rather lonesome. I was an assistant principal myself for 4 years. As much as I liked the job, other than the principal, who happened to be great, I didn't feel there was anyone else that I could connect with to share my workday. If you're in this situation, talking to other principals, counselors, or nurses at other institutions can help feel a work connection that you may not find at your own campus. Technology today allows us to reach out and talk to people that we couldn't 20 years ago. So, go ahead and, for example, find groups on social media where you can connect with those who have a job similar to yours. In conclusion, if you're feeling lonely at school, consider focusing on just these five key points discussed today. Is it true or just you? Allow yourself time if you're new. Reach out to different people. Try to build one on one relationships. And finally, accept that you may feel lonely because your job is of the lonesome type. These are the top five on my list that we have covered in today's episode. I feel lonely at school. I would love to hear what suggestions would make your top five list. Feel free to email me this or other comments to steve at teacherstent.com. Again, that's steve at teacherstent.com. Or you can follow Teachers Tent on Instagram. That's Teachers Tent, altogether, lowercase. In the meantime, join us next week for our podcast's 11th episode. Is spring fever avoidable? Many teachers share feeling frustrated at their students' late behavior as we approach the end of the school year. Spring is definitely in the air, and long gone is the rest we may have experienced for spring break. So, please let me know in advance any thoughts and tips you might have on this complex topic. And if you're enjoying the show, please don't forget to let your colleagues and friends know about and bring them to Teacher Stand. There's room for them too. Have a great week.